Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. Today, Jim Souhan and I have an awesome guest. I just adore this person, not only when he was a player here in Minnesota, but now that he's moved on to other successes. Former Vikings defensive end Brian Robison will join us. He is hilarious, he is funny, and he also does a really good impersonation of a very famous actor. You want to stick around.
We will get to sports, and we will get to Dawn's interview with Brian Robison, which, by the way, we pre-recorded, and so I can already tell you it's fantastic. Dawn's awesome. Relationship with Brian and Brian's personality. You know, Brian always had a great personality, and it certainly comes out in this interview once again. But before we get to the Vikings quarterback decision and the Wild surge and the Wolves playing great and whatever else we want to talk about, and we'll also talk about the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame inducting so many former Lynx, we're going to get personal here. My band played at Glick's last Saturday. It was
you did.
It was in part because we love playing. My band just loves going out and playing. It was part because we love playing at Glick's, but we also wanted to celebrate Dawn Mitchell's birthday. And Jerry Holt, if you don't know you know who Dawn is, obviously. You might not know who Jerry Holt is. Jerry Holt is a great photographer. He and I have been working together for like 3 decades. He is one of the many great photographers at Star Tribune. He does all kinds of great sports work. He's a great human being. So we wanted to celebrate the birthdays of 2 fantastic human beings. And Dawn, listen, I'll surpass false modesty here. My band is good. I knew my band would play well. What the variable that made it such an incredible night was you and all the people you brought to the bar and going out between sets and finding this huge wave of incredible people, and many of them incredible women who work in this market, plus your friends from the East Coast who came out. So we're going to name drop here.
All right.
Okay, so Dawn Mitchell came up and sang backup vocals. Dawn's a former vocalist, so this was a great addition to the band. Chris Hawkey came up and sang some songs with us. Vanita Sakar was there. Andrea Yak, one of the most type A, hardworking people I know, doesn't really go out in Minneapolis. She came out and had a
blast with her shiny pants.
With shiny pants and had an absolute blast.
She was so much fun.
We had
Jordana Green.
Jordana Green was there. Tracy Perlman was there. The Jablonskis were there. Aaron Levinsky, Liz Flores, and basically the entire Star Tribune photography department was out there celebrating Jerry's birthday. The dance floor was full. The bar was packed. It was one, aside from the obvious, which is marrying my wife and having children and getting promotions and all that stuff. It's one of the best nights of my life, and you made such a big difference.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
It was great.
When you just start telling people, "Hey, my birthday's coming up. My friend Jim's band is playing, and it's the Vikings bye week." Yeah, I've never had my birthday on a bye week ever.
It was good timing.
And for people that don't know, they just see media people working all the time. I anchor Friday and Saturday nights. I've been here, this is my 20th year. I don't go out Friday and Saturday nights. Sometimes, especially if we're on after the football game, your late local news, by the time I'm done, people are asleep. So I don't really get to go out and dance and, have a good time and all that stuff on a weekend. Hey, if you want to go out on a Monday or a Tuesday or even a Wednesday during football season, I'm your girl. But so the weekends are fun. So when you say to your friends, "Hey, listen, I don't want to go to a formal dinner." I love that when you go and you have dinners for your birthday. I said, I just want my friends to come to a small bar, Glick's. And it's like, so it's not like it's this huge, like you got to get, after a while, women just don't want to have to get dressed up. If you want to, fine. Andrea Yak, she looked to the nines. Like, I literally just wore jeans and a shirt, and minimal makeup, enough like you go out in public and not scare people. You're not putting on your face.
Which is the way I approach it too.
Right? Hey,
yes.
You didn't scare me at
very
all.
minimal makeup for me on Saturday.
And that's the call of the wild, no pun intended, for my friends. Low key, I can just show up and I don't have to get all dressed up and fancy, and I can just go in casual and have a blast. I think people are like, everyone right now in this life, they're just down for that. Just going somewhere, having a good time, not having the pressure. I go, what time do I have to show up? I go, anytime. They start at 9:30.
And
Like
we
anytime
play
you
all
want.
night.
They're playing till midnight. Like, so it wasn't like a be here at a specific time. And literally for my friends back home, and two of them that stayed with me, they had never met each other.
That's wild.
And I've been friends with these women basically all my life, back from Boston. And it was my old roommate, and then a friend of mine that I met in San Diego, and then my best friend from home, Karen. So it was Karen, Katya, and Lynn. They said, "Oh, the bye week. It's your birthday on the bye week. What are you doing? You want to fly out somewhere?" I'm like, I don't want to get on another plane. I don't. I'm just going to go hear my friend's band play. And they're like, "Can I fly in?" Sure, really? Like, yeah. Like, Jim, like it was that. And then when they walked in and you guys were a blast, they're like, "This is the best. This is the best." So, and for me, it was just nice to see some strong women, but also my
Heather
friends.
Rule's another one I should
Heather
mention.
Rule, she was fantastic. Tim Blotz, his wife, and both his daughters came. So it was just fun for me. Also, their husbands. I finally get to meet Jerry Holt's wife.
Right.
It
was great.
So that was just so much fun for me, just to do that. And then we even had Max from the Power Trip.
Oh yeah.
Yep, he came. And John Bonus showed up. It was just fun. It was
You're
like
a connector.
every time you turn tested, he goes, "How does that person know that person?"
And by the way, I have to clear one thing up that became a subject of conversation. My wife is not 30 years old. Okay. My wife looks like she's 30 years old, but she's not 30 years old. I'm not robbing the cradle
She's
here.
gorgeous. My friends are like, "Wow." She started talking about her daughter who lives in Boston, and I thought she was in college.
No,
Like you said, she's
like,
working.
I don't want to get anybody's age wrong, but she's upper 20s.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, that's the same with me.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. We're all upper 20s. So I'm very upper 20s.
Yes. You just stay upper
Yes.
20s. Yes. Gosh. And Carlos, who's also in the band.
Yep. Carlos Gonzalez, who's also a great photographer at the Star Tribune, an excellent guitar player, and a blast, and his wife's a blast. So listen, this might sound like inside baseball, but the greater point here is that you just don't get to see that collection of powerful, fun women in one place very often, especially in this business where we all work weekends. It was fantastic.
Yeah. It was a blast. And you're downplaying it, but this band is fantastic. We were like, you guys are, you were humble and you said, "Well, we're getting better." No, that dance floor was packed the whole time. Guys are coming up and singing along with you guys too, like from the dance floor. And I just said, gosh, this is a lot of fun. And for me, it was also fun to see Chris Hockey go to another place and have fun and not have to be the lead. Like he wanted to go up and sing like a song with you or whatever, but then go and just kind of hang out in the crowd.
Yeah. And he's such a good guy.
He's such a good dude. So it was a blast.
All right. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
On to sports.
Yes.
By the way, Dawn of Sports is sponsored by Rudy Luther Toyota, a great supporter of women's sports.
Ready for a women-forward car dealership? Rudy Luther Toyota empowers their many women on staff in sales, management, and service. Whether you are looking for a new Toyota or pre-owned vehicle, Rudy Luther Toyota has something for everyone. Every vehicle comes with a Luther Advantage. 10 cents off fuel and car wash discounts at holiday stations, Luther Advantage warranty, and 5-day return policy on pre-owned vehicles. Located just 5 minutes west of downtown Minneapolis, off 394 and General Mills Boulevard. And they're also hiring. Want to join the team but don't know where to start? Visit rudyluthertoyota.com today.
Dawn of Sports is also sponsored by All Energy Solar, allenergysolar.com. All Energy solar panel installations are done right and made easy thanks to more than 14 years of experience in Minnesota and beyond. All Energy Solar is ready to take any solar project, home, office, or both, from design to installation and everything in between. Find out more about going solar at allenergysolar.com/coach. So let's get on to the actual sports. It's Tuesday. By the time you hear this, the Vikings may have made their quarterback decision public. This is an opportunity for us to first guess instead of second guess. What's your first guess of what should happen and what you think will happen?
I think for the very reason why they got Josh Dobbs is the reason why I think he will be their starting quarterback is the fact that he has the most current playing experience as a NFL quarterback and victories and losses. So something to build upon. It's kind of like coming up, you'll hear Brian Robison talk about sometimes the more you learn about something, the less you play better. You're like when Josh Jobs first came in, he was, on fire because you're playing on adrenaline and you don't want to let people down. But then when you really have to get into the plays and the this, and there's so much to think about, you got to give a guy like that slack. So I think, Nick Mullins, I broke my back twice. I'm not playing NFL football. So I know he had a back injury. I know we have amazing science and doctors that help them. I haven't seen him play in a game this year. So, and then you have Jaron Hall, who's had one NFL snap?
Yeah, a half.
A half.
Yeah.
So I would say logic would dictate it would be Josh Dobbs, but I don't see everything that coaches see day in and day out and how they're trying to formulate this offense. But that would be my guess. You?
My guess is they're going to go with Dobbs. My gut tells me go with Hall, in part because I like the way he played in Atlanta, in part because they have big quarterback decisions to make this offseason, and I want to know as much about Hall as possible before they have to make any decisions.
But if they really want to be going for the playoffs.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. I wouldn't say Hall just for evaluation, but I think you get a chance to give Dobbs a break, to try out Hall, knowing you can always go back to Dobbs, and Hall might play better than Dobbs right now. And if he doesn't, at least you answered that question. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of splitting the difference here. I'm splitting the baby. I'm saying, a little of this, a little of this. But the short answer is I
go with your mom for half the day, then your dad for half the day.
But I think you have the correct answer, which is I think they're going to go with Dobbs. And you know what? One of the conceits of sports talk is that we have the answer, or we have our opinion is gold. Honestly, I don't know what the right answer is.
Right.
I think they're going to go with Dobbs. I don't know if that's right or not.
Right.
But they just need to find a way to patch that position together well enough to win these next two winnable games and then see where you are going into 3 divisional games that could determine whether you're contending for a division title, a playoff spot, or whether you're fighting for the Packers for 3rd place.
Yeah, I wish I was a fly on the wall when they actually get down and have the reps this week.
Yes.
So that would have helped me determine, it's like, all right, is Hall getting any reps with the first team? And it's my gut feeling, too, that Justin Jefferson is having a say. That's just from my own. I have not seen anything, heard anything. I have no inside tip on that. But when you got a guy that's coming back, I think his opinion matters. And this coaching staff has shown that they like to take in the opinion of some of the players. So, so that would weigh in as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And it might be a subtle thing. It might be Kevin O'Connell just brushing up against Jefferson or practicing and say, what do you think?
Yeah.
It might not be, it might, sometimes I think in the outside people think there's always these formal meetings, speeches. A lot of stuff gets done.
Right.
Just casual conversation. What do you think? Well, I think Hall's giving us a better chance, or I think you got to give Dobbs another chance. And and Kevin O'Connell isn't going to say, okay, Justin Jefferson said we have to play
he takes
Dobbs.
it into account.
He takes it into account, and it's all this modern management is very fluid and subtle in that way, I think.
And the interesting thing for me would be like if you're talking 1-2 and who's the third quarterback, what does that look like?
Right. And I think the fact that Mullins has been dealing with the back and hasn't played this year makes it easy to keep him number 3 right now.
I have a hard time sitting in a movie theater sometimes with my back hurt, let alone go out and play an NFL game, know?
It's just a brutal injury, and it's an unpredictable injury, and it can affect you so many different ways.
Yeah. Just thinking.
Yes.
Just standing and thinking. You're like, oh, my back.
No doubt.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's go on to the Wolves, the best team in town.
Oh.
Maybe the best team in the NBA right now. Atop the Western Conference Finals. Krasinski on the John Krasinski show the other day pointed out that the Wolves have spent more time in first place in the Western Conference this season than they had in the previous 32 years combined.
Wow. That really hits at home.
Yes. We've never seen a team. Listen, we don't know if they're going to match the high end that you got in 2004 with Garnett and Sprewell and Cassell driving that team to the Western Conference Finals. We don't know.
Right.
But in terms of regular season, this is already on the way to being the best regular season ever.
The other day, and because it was the bye week, I had the chance to go to the Timberwolves practice and talk to some of the guys, and which is great for me because usually then once the Vikings are done, I can see the Wild and I see the Timberwolves. But how Kat spoke about how that team was, because this is when Anthony Edwards went down, and they weren't. Sometimes you could tell like a team is they're unflappable or they're not. Kat was unflappable. He's like, hey, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but like, we love Ant, but we're a good team. And that came out, it just came out confident and it came out calm. And when I asked him about what is the number one thing that you're most impressed with this team that has been the improvement on defense that you've always wanted, he not only gave one, he said, listen, when you're good on defense, you're good at transitional basketball.
Right.
You're good at taking care of the details. You're good at it. So he's in this litany of what they're good at. And it wasn't boastful. It wasn't bragging. That's what he was proud of. So when you have Kat talking like that, it's kind of like a little microcosm of the mindset of this team. And Ant went down. And they didn't know. I mean, it didn't appear to be serious, but they didn't know at that time, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? What's going on? And it was like this, the season's over. It was, we're a good team. And I think mindset-wise, in addition to how they're playing, it's really exciting to watch. Even my friends back home, when I retweeted that they surpassed the Boston Celtics, trust me, I got some flack. I have 4 brothers, and I have a lot of friends going, you seemed happy about tweeting that out. And I go, I feel we don't root for teams, but when you see guys practicing and working hard and finally seeing the fruits of their labor, I'm happy for them. I said, yeah, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Minnesota.
And I in our business, I think we always have to repeat this over and over and over, because I don't think a lot of people necessarily pay attention to the message or get the message. We're not fans. We're not cheering, but we are human. We prefer the local teams win. It's better stories. It's more interesting. It
makes our jobs easier.
It makes our jobs easier. It means people are more interested in what we're putting out there. Yeah. The cliche that the media wants the negative is wrong.
Right.
We will cover the negative. I will tell you what I really think, which might be viewed as negative. I just view it as honesty. But we love it when local teams win. And there's also the human element. You like to see positive human interactions. You like to see positive human traits rewarded. And that's why I've been gratified by seeing Karl-Anthony Towns play so well this year, because he took so much flack this offseason. People want to blame him for so much. People want to scapegoat him. He's an all-star player. He's played great with Ant. He's played great without Ant. He's played great with Gobert. He's welcoming to his teammates. He plays hard. He's improved. That's gratifying to see.
Mm-hmm. And it's even the guys like Kyle Anderson and the other guys where, you don't root for, like I would say, listen, I'm from Boston, so I don't root for the teams, but I also don't root for Boston teams. I said, when you've been doing this job for a long time, I root for good games.
Good games.
No one wants to cover a dog game, you know?
We also appreciate good people.
And good plays, right? Good people. You see what they're doing behind the scenes. Yep. He's a kind person, regardless if they win or lose. You see him out there shooting how many hoops after, practice is all long gone. You've seen what they've had to go through personally many times. So yes, I said, I like to see certain humans succeed.
Yes.
And I, for one, after being here for now a minute and seeing what the Timberwolves, just even the people behind the scenes, guys like Jeff Municky, who've like been the best pillar of people ever working for this team and being loyal for the team. I love seeing the success. I love seeing the crowds that are showing up and being a little rowdy. I love it. I love all of it.
I agree. All right, on to a more mixed subject here. Minnesota Wild.
Oh.
Do you feel there are so many different ways you can feel about this team right now? I'll hit you with what I think, and then you react to whichever part you like.
Okay.
I think this coaching change that led to 3 straight victories. Again, we're talking here on Tuesday, so this is before they play Calgary on Tuesday night on the road. I think it shows that Guerin always has a really good pulse on this team. He knows when to do what. I think it shows that this team has the talent to continue to being a playoff team. Whether they're going to win a playoff series is a different thing, but they have the talent to be a playoff team again, even with the salary cap problems and everything else. I also think it's a little bit of an indictment on the players that they needed this kick in the butt to play well, because Dean Evison treated them well and they didn't play for him.
I agree on all your points, actually. You can't fire the players, right? That's what they always say. So you got to light a fire under them any way you can. Sometimes a change has got to be made, but when you make it at the top like that and an assistant and you lop them off there, I think it was a kick in the pants for a lot of the players. And some of them are admitting it, like Boldy sometimes hadn't been playing up to his own personal standards. This is not an indictment on him. Kirill Kaprizov hasn't been playing the same way for various, whether people think he's injured or what's going on. I don't know. I'm not there on a daily basis. But when you do make a coaching change, your team is on high alert. But when you said that Billy Guerin has the pulse of this team, I also think when you have talent and you make a change in, what was it, the end of November, beginning of December, it says that you believe that you have talent and we're not just throwing this year away.
Right.
So I think even though you're lighting a fire, it's a fire like, you guys are good. You're talent. Let's get this together. Like, this is the only change I can make right now. I'm not giving up on you in midseason. Because he could have just let it ride out and then make a coaching change at the end of the year. And it would have been, it's easy to say, okay, we don't have money on the books because, if I have to hear Suter and Parisi one more time, but I know it's the reality of it, but you can only milk up for so long, right? So I think Bill Guerin showed, I believe in you guys. We have talent. You guys on paper and on ice are good. So let's do something. John Hines, he knows what he's doing. I know the NHL recycles coaches, but what sport doesn't? But, they also have a long history like we talked about on the last podcast. For me, I say, bring on another New Englander and more people in this town will understand me. It's like, we're honest. You cut to the chase.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you're mean. You're just like, hey, let's get to it.
I spent part of my time growing up on the East Coast, and I get it, and I like that.
Yeah. And I'm the doormat of East Coast people. So if you can't handle me, I tell people just don't go. Like my friends from college, even I told you earlier, my friends get kicked out of cabs in New York.
Yes.
And not that, and they're sober. They just get kicked out of cabs because they want to engage the driver in a conversation that the driver probably doesn't want to have, right? Tell us about this. Blah, blah, blah.
They get DUAs, driving under attitude.
Yeah, correct. Like all of a sudden we're going to my friend's rehearsal for her wedding. And we've got two cabs, and we see the cab in front of us pull over, and we're like, "Hey, cabby, could you follow? Can you pull over?"
This is my favorite story.
And they're like, "What?" And they get out, and we're like, "What did you guys do?" Like, it's Trisha. She was just asking too many questions. I'm the nice one. So anyhow, people, you see Bill Guerin, he's exactly it. Like, he's not a mean person, but he's direct.
He's blunt,
and he will tell you what he feels, and he cares.
Saves so much time.
Oh my gosh, yes. I remember when I first got here, and I won't name names, but someone said, all right, so if I put this M&M packet in front of you and this 100 grand bar in front of you, and which do you like better? And I said, well, I love M&Ms. I don't like 100 grand. Yeah. And someone said, that's the wrong answer in Minnesota. And I said, what? I go, but it's my opinion. And I didn't say it mean. I'm like, oh, I hate 100 grand. I go, oh, no, it would be this because I don't really care for. I don't like 100 grand. No, wrong answer. And I go, well, what am I supposed to say? You're
supposed to say, I like them both, but I also like Skittles, and I don't want Skittles to feel left out.
Correct. I said, oh, you lost me on I like them both because I don't like that one. And like, yeah, but see, that doesn't work here. I'm like, oh, I got to buckle up. So that's what's happening to the Wild.
Done okay.
He's picking the M&Ms.
He picked the M&Ms, and he had to pick the M&Ms. Right. That's the way it goes.
And he probably still likes Dean Evison, he likes his season better.
Exactly.
So,
all right, we're on to Women in Sports, sponsored by Rudy Luther Toyota. This is easy this week. The Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, I'm reading from the AP story, announced this past Thursday that former Minnesota Lynx superstars Maya Moore, Simone Augustus, and Taj McWilliams Franklin were all named as 2024 inductees into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Those are all correct answers. Maya Moore, superstar, surefire Hall of Famer. Simone Augustus, surefire Hall of Famer. Taj McWilliams Franklin, she's a little different. She's not the superstar they were, but her career, the totality of her career made her a logical Hall of Fame entrant. But
where's Rebecca Brunson?
Oh
my gosh, and we did not talk about this beforehand. I just said that.
But Rebecca Brunson has to be in the Hall of Fame. and I hope this is just a delay.
She's got more rings than all of them.
She's got more rings. And before Sylvia Fowles, another Hall of Famer, surpassed her very late in Sylvia Fowles' career, Rebecca Brunson had more rebounds than anybody in the history of the league. She is a no doubt get her in as soon as possible Hall of Famer.
She never gets enough credit.
Never. And she was also the best defender on a team that won 4 championships.
Yes. And she's a great broadcaster, and her Sweet Truvy is really awesome too, by the way.
All those things
just
are
an
true.
aside.
No, those are all. And listen, it's fun when you can promote somebody who's also a great human being and a fixture in the community, and who's also a great broadcaster and basketball analyst. That's all great. But if she had played her last game, gotten on a plane, and gone to Bora Bora, and we hadn't heard from her since then, she still
deserves it. Thank you.
Yes.
And so women are not insulated from how the sports world goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long did we have to wait for Jim Cott, Tony Oliva to get into the Hall of Fame,
Very
right?
similar, yeah.
So I always say this, my mom would say, if you want to play with the boys, you got to learn how to take it, right? So it's you take the good and the bad. So is it that these other women have bigger names? And so people are like, or they're certain, like, we like Rebecca, but we can only let in a certain amount this year. We'll let her in next time. I don't know how those decisions are made, or if it's such a big PR kind of how to get them in.
I think it's probably B. I think it's, okay, Rebecca's going to get in, but she's not going to get in this year. And Taj retired earlier, so she's ahead of her on the pecking order, even though that Brunson was, I think, a better player than Taj McWilliams, Franklin. I think Taj was a big influence on this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was big for their culture, for their toughness, but Rebecca Brunson is a more accomplished player, and she should get in. And it should be, if it ain't this year, it should be next year.
And listen, if I also look at things from the PR point of view, if you're looking at the PR and you really want to promote women's sports, you don't leave her off from those other women going in from her former Lynx team.
I agree. So let's just hope it's a 1-year delay. If it's not, then we'll be complaining about this time next year, believe me. The Minnesota Aurora moment. There's really not a ton going on with the Aurora right now. We just like promoting them. So I'm just going to say that, once again, let's remind people of what Andrea Yacht did. She started a women's soccer franchise in a beer garden with a bunch of friends from St. Paul. And now she's gotten to the point where they've actually hired a CEO, and they've expanded, and they've added a second team. And once again, that person who started a women's professional sports franchise that is thriving, it's one of the best stories in the country, also is one of our favorite people. And she came out to the bar and had a blast the other night. Thank you for everything, Andrea.
And one thing I want to say, and Andrea brought this up when she was on our podcast, and it happened recently, but it was in the midst of everything with the Vikings and so I'm remiss right now at finding the coach's name. But Andrea said, the good thing is you hire quality people, but we also want them to keep going and achieve their dreams. And she had another coach just leave to become a head coach somewhere. And
they've had a lot of people like that. They've had people on their staff in different places use this as a stepping stone to go elsewhere. And that's part of the deal. You want to lose people because it means you're doing things right.
Right. Because on the men's side, and I know that Aurora is not professional yet, but on the men's side, guys have coaching trees.
Yep.
Right. And like, oh yeah, well, that guy was under da 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 da. So I like that the Aurora is becoming that for women's soccer. Mm-hmm. It's, oh yeah, she was under that coaching tree. She was under Nicole Lukic, and so now she's at Harvard, or she's at BC. I think it was at Boston College where she just went. So that's what I like. You're building the infrastructure of talent and strength and women helping women, which wasn't always the case, of women helping women. And I'm not saying here in Minnesota, I'm just saying in general. You always reach back and lift up. And so that's why I'm so proud of this team. Start from nothing, and you already got the structure. You already have people advancing, and it's not like, why are you leaving us? We're just building. It's like, no, this is why we built it. Yes. And these are the hits we're going to take as we continue to build. But that's what they do on the men's side. That's what they do in the WNBA. You see that now. So, now that that's already started, just in their coming up on 3rd year of existence, just blows my mind.
It's amazing. And to bring it full circle, that's why Saturday night was so great to see all the great women in our business in one place for one night. We'll have to do it again.
And next time I'm going to say Tracy Perlman from CCO.
Yes.
She did not have to produce a thing. We always joke around that no matter where she goes, she produces it up, right? Like you go to dinner, like she's like, hey, you sit here and this, like everything, like she just produces things up. She didn't have to produce it up.
Fantastic. All right. Up next, Dawn's great conversation with Brian Robison, one of the most beloved Vikings of recent vintage.
Joining Jim and myself right now on the Dawn of Sports podcast is a guy that really doesn't need an introduction because everyone here in Minnesota absolutely adored him, but I will indeed. Former defensive end from the Vikings. You also knew him from all of the 96 questions that he had, right? Awesome. Brian Robison, all the way from Texas. B-Rob, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Glad y'all have me on.
So, Brian, I know, let's just jump into what you're doing recently. I want to get into your fishing and all the fishing shows and stuff that you've done there. You've made quite a splash, no pun intended, when it comes to that world. But you've entered into the television world of football with the Texas Longhorns, your alma mater. You were on Longhorn TV, just living it up. Every time I would click on your stuff, you had this big smile on your face, and you were, of course, the life of the party. How was doing those broadcasts? I know you're still in it. They got a bowl game to go to, don't they? So you're still busy, are you?
Yes, ma'am. So I jumped into this last year. We actually tried to make it happen for a little while, and we had some things getting away like COVID and stuff like that. It finally became a reality last year. I've enjoyed doing it the last 2 years. Like you said, we've got a college football playoff game coming up, so we're starting to get geared up and prep for that. But I've absolutely enjoyed it. It's got me back into Austin, got me back into football in general, and really it's kind of made it quite enjoyable.
How was that to go back to your own school, now a big stud, NFL, your dreams came true that way, and now you're going back to Austin. You're with the Longhorns. Was that wonderful, but was it also a little weird at first? How was that for you?
It was a little weird. I mean, I got away from football for a little while. Like you said, got into the fishing stuff and kind of got out of that football realm, and it gave me time, I think, to get back and enjoy it. The other thing is being able to go back to my alma mater in Austin with the Texas Longhorns. That was a place that I had not been to very often since leaving there, getting drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. Just didn't really have a lot of time to get back. So it's one of those places that's near and dear to my heart, just like Minnesota is, and one of those places that I've enjoyed being able to go back to here the last couple of years. So
have you grown this new appreciation for someone like me now doing television when it comes to sports? What have you learned being on TV that's like, wow, I never knew that?
Yeah, and here's the deal, Dawn. You know this. I've always had an appreciation for what you guys do, and
of course,
always try to utilize those outlets because they benefit us as well. And so I know you guys always had a hard job to do because you got to talk about the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to call out players, things like that. But that's honestly what your guys' job is about. And it's kind of been the same thing for me. I mean, we dive pretty deep into some of the situations that are going on at the University of Texas. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be critical. And otherwise, nobody wants to hear the same old all the time. You got to give them something different to think about. And so we've had to dive into it, and it's given me much appreciation for the people that have done this for many, many years.
Well, you've never had a problem, let alone speaking your mind, right? Having a really good opinion on things and bringing in what most people are thinking to begin with. But you also bring humor along with it. Has that been really received well for you now that you've been doing that? People are like, wow, this guy's good.
Yeah, it has. Because, I do. I try to have fun with everything that I do. And whether that's, just kind of making jokes, cracking jokes about it, or being serious and just telling things how it is, and just trying to make it to where it doesn't come off as, I guess you would say, arrogant, cocky, or a know-it-all, but just kind of your opinion-based and what you see day in and day out on game tape or whatever it may be. You just kind of got to call it how you see it and stick to your gun.
So we're talking to Brian here on Tuesday. By tomorrow, the Vikings will probably have made their announcement who the starting quarterback is this week. Mm-hmm. And Brian, you dealt, most NFL players do, and certainly you did as a Vikings player. You dealt with quarterback changes, sometimes quarterback upheaval. Does it affect a player like a defensive end when a team is going through changes and decision-making at that position, or are you able to just worry about your own job?
Well, I think there's a little bit of both. I mean, I think at the end of the day, a lot of that is out of your control as a player. So you've got to go out there and take care of your job and play within the scheme and do what you need to do in order to help your team succeed. But at the same time, when there's uncertainty, whether it be at the quarterback position or any position, there is some uncertainty and you're not sure how to handle it. And what I mean by that is there comes a time where, for example, as a quarterback, that not being secure at a quarterback position, defense, you got to pick it up. You got to pick up the pace and pick up the slack for that offensive side of the ball. And so it does affect the way that you play, the way that you think about things as you move forward.
Jim brought up a good point. Does it affect the psyche at all of the whole team? I think there was, when Kirk Cousins first went down here, guys were crying in the locker room, because they just felt that they're on this surge. And it doesn't matter if you're on offense or defense, when you feel like you have these great hopes and things are really starting to click and things change on a dime, whether it be a quarterback going down or, whether it be your star defensive end going down. How does that affect the psyche then?
It affects it hugely. I mean, when you think about it, guys that are successful are also the guys that are the most confident at the time, right? So confidence has a huge correlation between having success or not having success on the field. You talk about guys that are in a slump, and a lot of times guys that are in a slump, they're not confident in what they're doing. Not saying they don't know what they're doing, but they're just not confident. It's just not clicking for them right at that moment. And so when you have a guy that you have learned to rally behind, that you have confidence in, that can get the job done for you, and then all of a sudden he goes down, that can affect your confidence. And it can affect the way that you play, because whether that be that, like I said, defensively, if a quarterback goes down, we feel that, hey, we've got to pick up our pace. We've got to pick up the slack for the young guy coming in. And that does affect the way that you play. So, a lot of it just has to do with confidence and being able to maintain that is the main deal.
And I guess that would also affect it. Say right now, Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator. And when you were here, you also had guys that were really into the defense. Mike Zimmer was a defensive-minded head coach. Even the D-line coach, when you had Coach Andre Patterson, when you guys have a defensive-minded people around you, and then it kind of slumps. Like the last couple of years was really hard on the Vikings defense. Then Brian Flores comes in, and I don't know if you know much about him, but one person can re-energize a whole core. He has them aggressive. He has them, blitzing left and right. For you personally, when you get a guy that's like, come on, let's re-energize this defense, it can change the whole team as well. The defense can affect the offense. What did you like best of your days here? And maybe if you've had a chance, I know you've been in the Longhorn stuff, but if you had a chance to notice what Brian Flores has done for the Vikings D.
Yeah, I think in my time there, I guess I could say the one thing for me personally is when you get a guy like Andre Patterson that came in, and I was already an established vet in the NFL. I was having, great success, 3 years in a row. I had like 25 and a half sacks over 3 years or something like that. And very easily you can get caught in that mold of, I know what I'm doing, I've been successful, and I'm just going to ride this thing out. Whereas a guy like Andre comes in and says, hey, listen, I want you to buy into what I'm teaching. I'm going to change a lot of stuff that you're doing, and it may be some growing pains, but it's going to make you better off down the road. And, it's one of those deals where you can be energized by that. You can go through it. And there were some growing pains the first year when Patterson and Zimmer and all them came there, but it made me a smarter player and honestly made me a better player. and taught me a lot of things that I wish I knew earlier in my career. I think I could have done a much better job earlier in my career had I had those guys in there. And that has nothing to do with the coaches that were before them. It just has to do with those were things that worked for me that I never knew. And, you know, what I see with the defense this year is you have a coach in Brian Flores that has come in, that has re-energized the team, much like you saw with Coach O'Connell last year and kind of that new regime. I think it re-energized the team and allowed them to just kind of play loosely, play and go get it. And I think that's what you're seeing out of Brian Flores. I think he has changed schematically, but also kind of catered to his players and understanding his personnel and what they can accomplish moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had 60 career sacks. So when you already have some of that mojo too behind you to change, how is that you're confident in college, right? Then you come in and you were a national champion, right? Weren't you in college? So, I mean, it's not like when you first got to the league, you weren't finding success. How was that for you? And what do you tell younger guys when a coach does come in and wants you to change and you are successful?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I was kind of used to change, right? So coming out of high school, I was a linebacker, and I was a linebacker all the way until my sophomore year of college. And then they moved me to defensive end. I was not happy about it, but it was a change that worked out for the best. And so even when I came into the NFL, I was still very, very young at the position. So for me, it was always about learning. It was, okay, how can I get better? How can I do things better? You know, I go through my first 4 years and I'm kind of behind Jared Allen. I'm kind of behind Ray Edwards. And then I got my opportunity. I made the most of it. And then, you know, you get a guy like Danielle Hunter that comes in. And for me, it was always about evolution. It was always about changing. It was always about how do I become better? Because you can't just rest on what you have learned. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. People don't stay stagnant. And so it was always about changing. And that's what I would say to younger guys is, listen, don't be afraid of change. If it's something that's going to help you, you've got to learn to master it, and you've got to keep evolving, because the game of football evolves every year. You see some different scheme or something like that, and you've got to be able to evolve with that in order to be successful.
Brian, I've had a lot of conversations with former athletes over the years, especially a lot of former Minnesota Twins, Roy Smalley, who's on this network, Michael Kadire, other people. And one thing a lot of them have told me is when they retire, they don't necessarily miss the competition or the grind. They just miss being in that locker room. What does that speak to you? What has your experience been?
I would agree with that 100%. I mean, listen, we all miss the game because that's the fun part of it, right? None of us really miss the grind because that's the dirty part of our work. But one thing I think every athlete will tell you is that they do miss the guys in the locker room. And the reasoning for that, I'm just going to be open and candid here. We talk about a lot of things from just everyday talk to important issues. And you don't get that in the real world. You don't get to have those important issues being able to be talked about. And guys that really and truly become your brothers. And, you know, when you're in a locker room, whether it be any sport, there's a certain type of bond there that the floor is open and a lot of things can be said that may not be taken in the open in the real world. And, you know, I think that's the thing that really creates a bond in a locker room is the fact that we can treat each other like family. We come from all different diversities, all different backgrounds, you name it. The locker room is a hodgepodge of just people in general that come from all different places. And we always find a way to rally behind each other for a common goal. And, you know, I've always said, and I've said this numerous times, if people could get an inside peek of how we react with each other in the locker room and apply that to the real world, the world would be a better place. And I truly believe that.
I remember years ago when I sat down with your entire D line. Do you remember that, Brian? And
yes.
And you were talking about this. You already had a sense. You were still in the middle of playing, still in the middle of a season, but you were appreciating it because you were, especially the D line, the whole defensive core, but the whole team, talking about some really tough issues. When Andre Patterson formed the committee to for social justice and have these open discussions in the locker room. And you were getting emotional about, I know at one day this is going to end, and this is beautiful. You don't get that on Hard Knocks. You know what I mean? Like, you see the other side of football and the fun side, but there is that beautiful side that you speak about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it becomes a brotherhood. You become family. I mean, you think about it. When you go to the NFL or baseball or whatever, you spend 8, 9, 10, 12 hours with these guys. You spend more time with them than you do your actual family at home. And you can't get along with people. It becomes a miserable day at work, right? So you truly become family. You truly become a brotherhood. And the only way you can get along is being open with each other and being honest with each other. And with that comes, a love for one another and a bond and things like that can't be broken. And so, I still, have conversations with guys, maybe not as much as I'd like to, just because life gets busy, but those lines of communication are always open. Any of those guys can reach out to me now, and I'm here for them. And I don't think that, and I think I mentioned that, like, I could see myself having, relationship with these guys 25, 30 years down the road, and I don't think anything has changed. We may not talk to each other as much as we would like to, but there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about those guys, or that I do something on a road or something, and I'm just like, hey, man, I'm gonna pick up the phone and call somebody. It still happens to this day.
On the lighter side of that, 96 questions kind of brought that locker room together in a fun way too. And I don't know if you noticed, it was probably just not even a month ago, one of your famous and I don't know if it's your favorite, but questions started making the rounds again, almost going viral. And it's the one where you asked, which Viking would you not want to date your sister? Do you remember that one? And everybody said Stephon Diggs. And it was hilarious. And it came out of nowhere. My friend's like, have you ever seen this? I'm like, yeah, this is years old. It's making the circuit again. It was hilarious. Did you?
Yeah, it is, and I see them periodically, come across my phone and things like that. And here's the deal. Listen, I'll be 100% honest. Everybody thinks that stuff might have been staged or it was planned, or like, I can tell you 100% with zero doubt, none of that stuff was planned, because I'd say 90% of the time, myself and Jordan Struck didn't have the question we were going to ask until 30 seconds before we asked the first person. And a lot of that was just simply because we just wanted it to be spur of the moment. We wanted it to be natural, and we wanted everybody to get to know the guys for who they were. And it was just, to me, that was one of the funniest ones, because almost every person to a T did say Stephon Diggs. And listen, we love Stephon Diggs, but that just came out hilarious. And then the fact that Stephon answered back the way that he did, I mean, it couldn't have happened any better.
Yeah, if you guys are out there listening and you haven't, seriously, you have to Google it. There's so many of those 96 questions that I just adore. And you did it for years. So do you ever have one that stood out like, oh, I can't wait to ask the guys this one?
I mean, I think obviously the one that stands out is that one. But then I can remember probably one of the funniest answers to me was Anthony Barr, when he actually said, can I just date my own sister? And everybody was like, what? So that was pretty comical as well.
Oh my gosh. And people don't realize, like, Anthony Barr has that dry sense of humor, right? Like, people are like, what's that person really like? He doesn't really talk that much. I'm like, they're hilarious. When you get to know them, they just have that dry sense of humor. But you're like,
yeah, absolutely. What? And he's one of those that's low key about it, right? Yeah. Like it's almost a dry fun.
Well, Anthony Barr's back. When are you coming back?
I think that ship has sailed, my friend.
You never know.
Hey, you held your own. I saw Matthew McConaughey was on your Longhorns telecast, wasn't he? How was that?
Yeah, so, the great thing about being involved with the Longhorns is I got to know Matthew McConaughey a little bit back when I was playing, and it's funny. He is diehard Longhorn through and through, and he definitely, has conversations with the players, and just honestly around that program, he's just a normal guy. And So having guys around that program like that is obviously always a good selling point for recruits and things like that. But just good to know that people out there are like that.
Well, he's always around the program. Do you ever have to go, hey, Matthew, take a day off?
Step back
just a little bit.
No, not really. I mean, he's definitely fanatical about his Longhorns, and I think we love it. I mean, we've embraced it. We've embraced him being the what we call the minister of culture there. So people love having Matthew McConaughey around that program.
Do you have your all right down? Can you lay us your best all right?
Hold on, let me. Here we go. All right.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really good.
You've been back in Texas for quite some time. Hey, what I want to, before we wrap this up, I want to ask you, we talked about the fishing. I also saw that your son is now becoming a great angler himself. Your daughter is following in your wife's footsteps with some of the rodeo and calf roping. First of all, I just want to say, I know you as a person. I am so proud of you as a dad and a person foremost. And to see you living out your post-NFL dreams and then seeing your kids kind of follow in both of your footsteps, it kind of like warms my heart just from the outside looking in. So kudos to you on that.
Yeah, it's definitely been a blessing for us because, we were the type of parents that definitely did not want to push our kids in either direction. It's just funny that, my son has really taken up with fishing, like you said, and football as well, has really, gotten into that a lot. And then, of course, my daughter's doing her barrel racing, doing extremely well at it. And, I use the same attitude in life that I do in playing football, right? Which is no regrets. Go out there and give it your all, have fun, be light on your feet, and just enjoy it. And I try to treat that the same way as I did in football, which is go live it. Go do your best and just let things fall where they are.
And do you have any fishing tournaments coming up? And can you tell us how that's all going?
Oh, man. Tournaments have been really crappy for me the last couple of years, to be honest with you.
Really?
I haven't done too well, but yeah, man, I'm starting to find out the more I learn about fishing, the worse fisherman I become. So I'm
like
thinking
golf.
about scratching.
I was going to say, like, me and golf.
Scratch everything I know. But no, things have been really good. I'm still enjoying it tremendously. Got a tackle shop now down at Lake Sam Rayburn, so I've even gotten into the business side of it, and that's been going really well. Yeah, like I said, just enjoying it. Still getting out on the water as much as possible. The Longhorn Network gig kind of gets in the way periodically, but I get to do football during the fall and then get back to fishing in January. It's like I never left. I just added more on my plate from a mental aspect and less of a physical aspect.
But like you said, you go out it, you attack it by loving it and just doing it and having no regrets, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, B-Rob, let me tell you, if you have plans to come back here at all in the season, I want to try to get you on TV. People need to see your face. They just love you. People here are like, oh, B-Rob, when you came here, I think it was last year, the year before, and you were on the screen and you just got the place rocking. People here just love you. And I just think that you should know that. And it's not just, yes, you're a great football player. It was more than that. It's that you brought that no regrets and lightheartedness, that you were 100% yourself. And I think people can sense that.
I can tell you that every time I come back, I am extremely humbled and grateful at the love that I receive when I go back there. And it is not forgotten. It is not ever unnoticed. I cannot be thankful on behalf of my family. I cannot be thankful enough for our great 12 years that we had in Minnesota. And I've said it many times before, Minnesota will always have a piece of my heart, and it'll always be my other home.
All right, all right, all right.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, B-Rob. That's Brian Robison, former Vikings defensive end. I don't even like saying the word former anymore. Current Longhorn analyst, fisherman extraordinaire. Just stop studying it, B-Rob. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for joining us today. I love it.
Thank you,
I
guys.
miss you. You're fantastic.